Hi everyone, George DeSantis here with a look at the market for the week ending April 12th, 2019. And as usual, we bring up a disclaimer so that you can read it. And just understand that I'm not a professional investment advisor. So I do these videos for my own purposes and share it with those who care to take a look. And I'm not here to give you professional advice, investment advice. I couldn't presume to be able to do so anyway. So we'll do what we usually do, take a look at the general market as represented by S&P 500, and then we'll take a look at some individual stocks that look interesting. So here we have a weekly chart of the S&P 500, obviously in a nice uptrend since the end of last year, since the end of December, all the way up here. So now we're hitting 2907. There was a while back, for a couple of weeks back, we were bumping up against 2815 or so as a resistance level right here, that yellow line. But since a couple of weeks now, we've broken above it. And if I close the chart up a bit, you'll see that the previous high here of 2940 was in September, just after tariffs were announced. See that arrow there? That's when they announced tariffs. And then we declined and made a low here in December and rallied since. So we're on our way perhaps to hit that and surpass that high of 2940. Everything looks very bullish here. The 4 EMA is above the 9 above the 30 and the 50, and parabolic. I use the new parameters here I spoke about last week. Parabolic is more reactive using these parameters, and it's below the most recent bar, so there is no indication to switch this trend to a downtrend. So all systems on go here, so to speak. MACD histogram trending up and above the zero line, and one of my favorite indicators, this Williams percentar with a 30 period trending up above that minus 50 magenta line. Some of the rate of change indicator has really found some life here. It's now at 28 above the critical 4% level. And the RSI 12, which is a very good trend indicator, especially on the weekly chart, is now continuing to remain above 60%. It broke above the 40% line way back here. You can see that was on January 11th. So that's so far, insofar as the weekly chart is concerned. Now here's a daily chart of the S&P 500, and of course we want to note where the moving averages are. So the four exponential moving average still above the 9 above 30, 30 above 50, and that's indicative of an uptrend if I ever saw one. So we are trending up, of course. The parabolic is below the most recent bars, and so no indication to switch or interpretation to a downtrend here. And when you look at MACD, it seemed that last week I mentioned that it occurred to me that we might have a bearish divergence of MACD, but on second thought, we seem to have played this divergence out here, and now we are on an uptrend. So I might have to take that back in terms of the bearish divergence. It seems that was a mistake on my part. Williams percentar continues to remain above that minus 50 magenta line, and that's usually very good to see from a bullish perspective. And the sum of the rate of change indicator is 10.31, so it's above 4, and RSI 12 is above 60. So both the weekly and the daily charts on the S&P are telling us this is an uptrend. A very nice one too. And we take a quick look at some charts from stock charts. We've seen these many times before. You can see that the new high, new low index is continuing to remain above that zero line. And since it trended all the way up back here from minus 10,000, very low. at the end of last year. And here's a chart with the impulse indicator where you have the bars painted red, green, and blue, and you can see that on this weekly chart of the S&P, we continue to have green bars. We are not allowed to go short. If we're going to do anything, we should be buying the market or holding what we have. McClellan oscillator has been continuing to trend up here, so that supports this whole bullish scenario. And on this chart, we see the percentage of stocks on the S&P 100 above their 200-day moving average. And we can see that's a really nice, consistent uptrend, more highs than lows. And this is a weekly chart of the same new high, of the percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average. Let's turn to some individual stocks and take a look. So here are some individual stocks. Some of these, I own these, and then I'll discuss a few other ones. Let's look at Cadence Design. Cadence Design, you can see the money flow fell off a bit, but it's now oversold, and the relative strength is fine and is very bullish. So I'm holding all of these for now. Some of them are weaker than I would like, but anyway. Adobe, above that long-term line, money flow is good, and it's a little bit overbought here, but it just turned bullish. You can see that green bar there, that green part of the line, it turned from yellow to green. So I like that. Fortinet just had a momentum breakout. I still own it. Money flow started to look good again, and these other indicators are looking good. It's also bullish. Google, you can see that Google is formed a triangle here, and it's just breaking out of that triangle, and it was oversold and it's now going higher. It's neutral. No, it's bullish. I'm sorry, it's bullish, but the relative strength is positive. iPay, that one that I bought recently, it's becoming oversold, so I'm holding it. Let's see, Salesforce was oversold, and it went up a bit. Like the relative strength and the fact, well, it's neutral. Now I've been thinking that I want to have more bullish stocks in this lineup here in my portfolio. So some of these neutral stocks I'm going to take a look at, maybe getting rid of some of them, but I have to take a closer look. Microsoft, I still own it. It's been trending up nicely from this long-term trend line here. It was oversold and it's now overbought. It was oversold and it's now a little bit in the overbought territory. It's neutral. And this Keysight Technology continues to trend up, and I still own it. And Dell, of course, I still have Dell. It's looking fine to me. Here's a list of stocks from the screen that I mentioned before, and you see there are 5 of them right now that meet certain criteria. The money flow is positive, it's oversold. Relative strength is positive, and it's also very bullish. There's also Cadence, and I own that one, as I mentioned earlier. Then there is CMCSA, which is Comcast, and you can see it also. It's overbought. It's overbought right now, but it's also bullish, and it meets some of these other criteria. Continues a nice steady uptrend. Danaher, DHR, this thing gapped up here and it's consolidated a bit. It's still sort of consolidating. Money flow dropped off a bit, but it's very oversold, and it may be one to take a look at. Oracle, it has a money flow buy signal alert, and it's not overbought by any means. And these other indications are looking good. They're bullish and so on. So that's that list of a screen from Shaken Analytics. And here are some from the from IBD, Investors Business Daily. This one here has had some favorable mention. EPAM Systems. These are computer software, most of them. It's oversold, you can see that. And money flow looks good and the relative strength is good. And it's also bullish. This one I own, as I told you, Fortinet. We covered that already. Paycom software. It meets some of these criteria again, you know, oversold, all of these indications here. It's also bullish, and this one, Paylocity Holdings, I'm not too familiar with it, but it does meet the criteria. PCTY. I own PayPal, and you can see that it's a little bit, it's overbought here, but it continues to trend up. Could remain overbought for a while. And one that I like, but I don't own it, is Planet Fitness. New gym that I joined, and it got some very favorable mention in an article in Forbes or Fortune some time ago. Now here's a screen that I did with Shaken, and there are quite a few stocks. There are what, 22, I believe, 33 stocks. But of course, the market was up nicely, and you could see many of them had gains on Friday. So if you want, you can stop the video and take note of these and check them out further. You will find some names here that you recognize, such as Google and Fortinet that we looked at, and Adobe, and quite a few others, JCOM, CDNS, etc. SNPS, that meets one of the other screens as well. So you can stop the video and look for the stop sign, which is like that double line, you know, and take a look. So that's about it. What I have noticed recently is that many of the old school large cap technology stocks continue to lead the market. So stocks like Microsoft and Cisco and Google and quite a few others, you know, continue to lead the market. So, and I own a few of them. So I'm going to call it a day here, and I hope you have had a good weekend. We'll do this again next weekend.